Not only is that your man's, but he vanished. Well, bitch, I'm vanishing too. Like, you gone, well, I'm gone too. First, I love you guys. And if you didn't know, now you do. Second, I am in a lot of pain right now physically, and you probably can't tell, but I really am. Like I'm in, excuse me, like I'm in so much pain that I should be resting my body right now and not doing nothing else. But there's something wrong with me because I work through the pain. I've always been like that. I try my best to work through the pain. If I can't, then it's bad. So in this video, I won't be doing a whole lot of movement. I won't be extra like I usually am in my videos. But yeah, I just want to let y'all know that. Hopefully, after these pills I take, I'll be good. Cause that's what we do around here. We pop pills. You know, we pop like six to 8 pills a day. Every 3 seconds, we pop in 6. I'm lying. Don't take that out of context. I'm joking. Okay? But this is some, like, pain medicine pills. So hopefully, it works. Hopefully, I'm good in the morning. Hopefully, this video gets out tonight. But, yeah. Sorry, guys. I didn't even read the fucking instructions. Do not take more than directed. The smallest effective dose should be used. Take 1 tablet every 4 to 6 hours. Okay, if pain. Alright, no, I'm good. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So. Sup?
You grew up here.
No, I didn't.
This farm. After 20 years being away from it, you finally returned. The sun is setting. The fields before you are an unmaintained mess of what they used to be. You can't remember why you ever left. Maybe it was Dad's cold indifference, or Mom's spiral into depression. But maybe, just maybe, it has something to do with the thing standing in the field.
Shit.
The thing shaped like a person, yet entirely featureless. It stares at you without eyes. The wind sweeps over the fields. You're too afraid to move. Yet...
Move? I'm never too afraid to move. Nah, no, you got me clucked up. Cause I see, god damn, I'm hurting. But if I see something in the clucking distance, and that shit looks like, it's like out of this world, not normal, then we're not having a stare off. We're not. If we're going to have a stare off, then you're staring at my after image. Because I'm already mother clucking 6 miles out. You best believe that shit. You're not staring at me. Y'all, I'm hurting so much.
At the same time, you feel more at home than you've ever felt before. Enjoy these allegedly true scary stories of creepy happenings on farms with the sounds of wind over fields and other relaxing sounds.
Farms scare the hell out of me for some reason. Maybe it's because...
Puka by Nieslob 20.
Maybe it's because like all that open field, open land. I don't like farms.
This is the story of the scariest moment of my life, which occurred in 2002 in rural Ireland.
Alright.
I am a city boy through and through. I was born and raised in Waterford City, in the province of Munster in Ireland. I was attending college in Waterford, where I was studying software development. Yeah, I was one of those computer geeks. Every summer, I worked on my uncle's farm in County Wexford to get money to pay for my college, and this is where I was when this story happened. My uncle was a very quiet guy and a very easy guy to work for. I spent my days plowing and baling the fields with him, along with my cousins, over the summer.
Okay.
It was the classic off-the-books job. I got to live with him rent-free, and I received 200 euros a week. One day, after we were done plowing for the day, my cousins and I were out eating dinner on the picnic benches when I saw this large, dark eagle hovering over the farm. I remember pointing it out to my oldest cousin, Sean, by saying, "I've never seen an eagle like that before." And that's when things got really weird. My cousins looked up at it, then they looked at each other. Their faces had blank expressions. And then Sean looked at the youngest brother, Patrick, and said, "Quickly, round up some corn and leave it out for it." I just sat there in utter confusion as my youngest cousin Patrick stood up and headed down towards the fields.
No. So what you telling me is bullshit. This is something that y'all never seen before, so y'all gonna do your best to entertain the mother clucker. That's what you telling me. For real? That's what y'all doing? It's not. Y'all not even showing like the slightest of signs of hauling ass. Y'all not even showing like the slightest signs of running, of doing any other movement besides trying to entertain this mother club. Are you serious? This is something you never seen before. So what you talking about? Your first instinct is, oh snap! What the hell is that? That thing look dangerous, and that thing look muscular as hell. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm going back in the house. Y'all can stay out here. Y'all can entertain this mother clucker. Y'all can feed this mother clucker. Like, y'all can. You want it as a pet? Do you want it as a pet? Are you serious? I mean, that's what it seems like. My only pet I have is Adidas. That's the only thing I'm petting around here. I'm not petting that thing. You tripping. I don't. And you lucky I don't lock the doors on you. Because something tells me that this thing about to do some weird shit.
I asked Sean, "Why are you giving that huge thing corn when they don't even eat it?" Sean replied sternly, "Look, no eagle is that big. That is a puka." At this stage, I just assumed my cousins were the classic superstitious country people. I informed them that I did not really know what a puka was, and they told me that it was a malevolent, shape-shifting being that usually takes the form of large black eagles and black horses.
Wow.
They would besiege people's property and try to lure them out with their human-like speech to take them in the night.
No.
They said if we hadn't left out corn, then one of us would not be there in the morning.
Not me.
I don't know what to think of this, but I do know I've never seen an animal like that.
That'll be the last time.
A jet black eagle with a wingspan of at least 50 feet.
God damn.
Please tell me that there's an animal that matches that description somewhere in the world.
That'll be the last
2.
time
Creature in the Woods by KChat6542.
That'll be the first time I see a puka and the last time I see a puka.
It was the spring of 2012, on a nice sunny day at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was in the car with my boyfriend and mother. I was 20 years old at the time. We were coming back from the grocery store. The road we would most often take was in the country. It was surrounded by farms on either side and had a lot of sharp turns throughout. As we pulled off the busier farm road onto this road, we get about half a mile down where the first sharp turn is located. At this point, right before the curve, There is a large field located diagonally right to our position in the road, and a property of about 2 to 3 acres directly in front of us. There is a farm home on the property, pushed way back, with a smaller brushy wood in the very front of their property, closest to the road, with many trees and thorny bushes. As we begin to take this sharp curve to the left, I see out of the corner of my eye, from my position in the front passenger seat, that something black is coming up on us extremely fast.
Oh, that hurt. All that movement that I just did, that hurt like a mother clucker. No, nah, no. I would have told you to speed the hell up. I would have told you to forward it. Like, press on that gas like you never did before. Don't worry about. Don't ask me no questions. I ask you to, if I tell you to press on the gas, if I tell you to floor it, if I tell you to speed it up, don't ask me no questions. You just do it, okay? Because if I tell you to do something like that, if I tell you to haul ass in a car, and it's coming from me, you don't ask me no questions. You just do it, okay? Okay? Cause trust and believe me, if you, cause I'm nervous now. Cause I seen something out the corner of my shits. If you ever question me about hauling ass in a car, about speeding up in a car, and I'm telling you this, it's coming from my lips, my beautiful ass lips. Pause. Then best believe me, I will get out this car and outrun a Bugatti. Keep playing with me. Keep playing with me. Don't ask me no. Don't second guess me. Don't ask me no questions if I ever tell you, and we're both in the car, to speed it up. You just do it, okay? Especially if it's coming from me. Okay, we good? You sure? Okay. Because I don't know what the hell I just seen out of the corner of my shits.
Before I have time to even look to see what it was, the black mass is to the right of us, in the brushy wood.
You tripping.
It seemingly slowed its pace down to match our speed, and it never made any noise. Even stranger was that it never maneuvered through the wooded area to avoid branches. It simply kept going in a straight line, all the while easily going the speed of our vehicle.
Oh my
30
God.
miles per hour.
Oh.
At this point, my mother and I both were freaking out, and my boyfriend was too preoccupied with the game to look out of the window from the back seat. I tried to discern any distinguishable features, but from what I could tell, the creature looked to be long, like 7 feet long.
What the hell?
And it was black as night.
What?
It had a bulbous portion at the front of it, which I assumed was its head. I never saw any eyes or a beak, or even claws, but it did appear to have something like a tattered black material flowing at the end.
Ouch.
Which reminded me of ripped up trash bags, but it didn't have any shine to them. As we kept driving about 50 to 75 feet past the start of the woods, there was a sudden end to the woods where the next property began. At this point, the flying thing, still soundless, made a sharp 90-degree turn away from us and disappeared completely.
Bullshit.
I remember feeling very frightened and paranoid for about a week after this, and I refused to go outside alone. We lived in the country with no streetlights, with no floodlights coming from the house to light the property.
You clucking up?
We lived across from a large wood ourselves.
You clucking up?
Some people have tried to tell me that it was a species of large owl, or even a type of hawk, but I can't accept that. I've been ridiculed for thinking that it's anything other than a normal animal, but from my experience, this was something not of this world. I've talked to a cryptozoologist,
A
discussing
what?
the size of the thing, the texture, and its color, and they said based on my description, anyone who thought it was a hawk, owl, or other bird would have been wrong. Believe me, I wish it was normal.
Hey, if you live in an area that's
3. Bigfoot sees me.
nah, not me.
By Peyton.
You're not seeing me. Hold on. If you live in an area that doesn't have any streetlights, why? 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 Uh-huh. Okay. I've been in the country before, and I gotta be honest with you, it's scary as hell. Because you have it's first of all, it's dark as hell. Second, you have all of this open land, all of this open area for anything and anyone to just be out there. And I also don't like the fact that if you go deep enough in the country, because I'm used to riding on roads that are smooth or somewhat smooth, and then they have like those dotted lines, like dotted white lines and the yellow lines. I'm not used to driving on, is it gravel or rock or anything that's not asphalt, or like I'm not used. I want to see lines. I want to see a street. I don't want to just drive on nothing. That's also a red flag. Oh, I'm okay. I'm good. You know I'm lying, right? You know I'm hurting like a mother clay.
This was when I was about 12 years old. I was in my room playing video games and messing around. We live out near a farm, so there is a bunch of wildlife nearby.
But nah.
As I'm playing my games, I can hear something outside, but I thought nothing of it.
You better.
Pretty soon, I realized it sounded big, but I thought surely it was just a cow wandering by from the nearby farm,
No.
which was pretty common. But just in case, I opened my blinds and I looked toward the farmland.
Close them bitches.
I did see something about 50 feet away. It was dark, so I couldn't tell what it was, but I could see that it looked like a man. A very, very tall man. At first, I thought it was my neighbor, because he was pretty tall. But this thing wasn't wearing clothes, and it had patches of fading fur or hair. I remember, as I was watching, my phone rang, and when it did, the creature looked over, his neck jerking towards me, like a dog suddenly standing at attention. It stared at me through my window, and my heart began to pound. I rubbed my eyes hard, and when I opened them again, the animal was gone. I thought it was maybe a figment of my imagination.
It's not gone.
As I'm about to turn away, something smacks hard against my window.
Oh.
It lets out a blood-curdling scream. I immediately got under the sheets of my bed, not wanting to move. I waited about 30 minutes. I could still hear it moving outside. When my neighbors let out their dogs, like they usually do, they made a beeline straight for the creature. There was a tempest of barking and snarling, and soon it went quiet. I told my dad about what happened, but he doesn't believe me. I don't think I can get over that experience. It was just too bizarre.
You about to get clucked up.
4. Scared Sober by Hannah T. I come from a large Irish family. I've got 11 aunts and uncles,
Damn.
not including their spouses, and each one of them has from 3 to 8 kids of their own.
God damn.
My grandparents used to tell us stories of when they were oppressed for being immigrants and couldn't celebrate St. Patrick's Day publicly due to the strong xenophobia that surrounded Irish people when they were young. So, considering how large a family we have, and how much we were taught to appreciate it, St. Patrick's Day is a big deal for us. Every year, we go to my tiny hometown, where all the kids get together and wreak havoc, while every adult with access to alcohol gets so smashed that the older children have to corral the little ones before they start their own version of the purge. Everyone between the ages of 15 and 20 has to stay completely sober so we can make sure everyone else gets a safe drive home. I've had to get my fair share of aunts and grandparents back to their houses in the early morning hours, and by now I'm used to avoiding beer and taking care of them,
Right.
even if I can legally drink now. But that year, I'll never forget. It was 2012, the St. Patrick's Day immediately after I lost both of my grandparents on my father's side. It really tore my family apart, but we promised one another to have a great holiday, if only to honor their memory. That year's celebration was like most of them. A few drunken tears thrown in, though, but all in all, it was pretty fun. Once the partying was over, it was my job to make most of my aunts and uncles with fewer children come home, so I didn't have to make more than one trip in the family van to drop them off. The last one on my route was Kinney, my dad's older brother, who lived in my grandparents' empty home while his kids were staying with his ex-wife. I can't imagine how hard it was to stay in that house after losing his parents, but he never complained. Here are a few details for context to the story. This place is a huge farmhouse, 12 miles from the nearest town.
Wow.
Surrounded by fields and crops and grazing area for the cattle that my grandparents had bred and raised.
Hell no.
All the cows had been sold since Grandma and Grandpa passed, and the whole place felt unbelievably empty as soon as I pulled into the driveway.
Bruh, 12 miles to the nearest town? Oh my God. What was you thinking? Obviously, you wasn't. 12 miles to the nearest town. 12 miles. Wow. I can't. Yo, some of these stories, I'm like, what would you, 12? See, cause most of that is just, it's just like fields and acres. Like, if I didn't know already, I like to be surrounded by neighbors. I like to be surrounded by other people. I don't like to be in an isolated area. I don't like to be alone. I need people around me. And that's only because if I'm ever in a clucked up situation, I can throw you I can use you as bait. I mean no harm, and I love you, but like, if there was like a creature or somebody, after us, or just want to kill, I'm throwing you to that person, and then I'm getting out, like I'm getting the cluck out. I'ma need somebody as bait. It's not gonna be me. It's not. Sorry.
I got my uncle up to his room, made sure he was okay, and started eating some Pop-Tarts in the kitchen, which he promised to give me for being such a good sport in driving people home at 4 in the morning. I hadn't been in the house since my grandpa was diagnosed with a brain tumor the size of a baseball last November.
Damn.
It was right at the base of his skull, just to the left. He had passed from it a few weeks later. My grandpa was a tough, bald guy who liked cigarettes just a bit too much. I always looked up to him, so you can see why I really missed the old place. It smelled like smoke and rain, and it was nice to see all the memories I had of my grandparents. As I finished up the last Pop-Tart and put my jacket back on, I could see a figure sitting in the living room.
No, you didn't.
Looking at the TV.
No.
The chair that whoever it was sitting in was between myself and the television, and since they were looking at the TV, I couldn't see them very well. All I knew was that there was some stranger in my grandparents' house, and I was the only one awake and sober enough to make sure they didn't do anything. Not taking my eyes off of this guy for a second, I grabbed my pocket knife and the baseball bat my grandparents had in their cupboard, which I had bought for them since it was signed by the 1997 Chicago Cubs.
Come on. Don't do anything. Please. Don't. Cluck everybody in that house. Just cluck them. It's that you're now in a clucked up situation. And you know what that means? It's every person for themselves. You put on your Adidas, and you get to running, and don't look back. If by a miracle, if they survive, the people in the house, then you can talk to them. Don't do nothing. He a stranger, just let him be a stranger. Don't try to talk to him. Don't try to be brave. Don't be courageous. Just run. That's it. That's it. Don't let anybody else know that you're running. If somebody decides they want to wake up right when you leave, you just leave. And maybe hopefully they can catch up. But you got your Adidas on, so chances of them catching up is pretty slim. Gotta be honest. Unless, they got Adidas on too, so it's you're neck and neck. But don't do nothing. You don't gotta do nothing. Don't do nothing. Just leave without your peoples knowing. Leave them behind. Cluck them.
I don't know what I was planning on doing, though. Was I actually just gonna bash this guy's face in and call the cops?
Or nothing.
I was a short, chubby 16-year-old with the muscle and dexterity of a baked potato.
Wow.
What did I really expect? Armed and practically wetting myself, I walked as quietly as possible toward the person sitting completely motionless near my grandpa's old lazy boy.
Come on.
As I drew closer, my eyes adjusted to the dark, and I could see him more clearly with just the moonlight. From the back, he was balding and had quite a few liver spots.
Oh.
He had asymmetric ears like all the people on my dad's side of the family. I really didn't take these observations to heart until I was able to see the gaping, baseball-sized hole in the base of his skull just to the left. Once I saw that, everything came together, and aside from the hole, the man looked exactly like my grandfather.
That's your man's?
As soon as I had put the pieces together, the TV turned on, blasting static at a volume higher than what I thought the old set could handle. The sudden bright light from the television and loud noise made me cover my ears and blink furiously. The TV shut itself off in what felt like less than a second, and when I opened my eyes again, the person that had been sitting in my grandpa's chair had vanished.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. So, not only is that your man's, but he vanished. Well, bitch, I'm vanishing too. You gone, well, I'm gone too. I mean, that's pretty common sense to me. I have a tendency of if somebody else is running, then I'm running with you. I'm not going to ask no questions. We're going to ask questions afterwards. You running, then I'm running. Are you hiding? Then I'm going to let you hide. I'm going to run. You fighting? I'm going to let you fight. I'm going to run. But if you running, I'm going to run with you or pass you. I tend to not ask no questions in a collective situation. And don't look at me. Don't ask me no questions either. So, yo, that's crazy. That's your man's. That's your mess. That's great. Wow. So you got no other option but to run. You do anything else but run or fly on them? Because you know with the Adidas 6000s, you can fly with them Jones. So if you do anything else besides run or fly, you clocking up to the max. Sorry, but you are. Sorry, not sorry.
Sprinted to my uncle's room, woke him up, and ran with him as fast as he would let me back to the van. I pulled out of the driveway and gunned it back to my parents' house like a bat out of hell. As I drove off, I swear I saw the TV back on again, and someone was still inside the house, staring at me.
Again, they're not.
5. Tragic History by Scott.
Again, they're not staring at me. They're staring at my after image.
My family recently purchased another farm, and we've been doing a lot of work cleaning up the old house, barns, and other outbuildings. The abstract for the property details that the land was originally settled on and timber was cut down and cleared in 1852. While the original structures are gone, most of the barns in the old farmhouse are anywhere from 90 to 120 years old. So I figured there might be some interesting artifacts with so much history in one place. After several consecutive days spent on the property, exploring and cleaning, my parents left me there one afternoon to keep working alone while they went to unload a trailer of junk.
Alone, man.
After perhaps an hour of fixing a fence, I all of a sudden heard what sounded like muffled voices in the barn. I thought perhaps they had returned, but I soon realized there were no vehicles in the driveway. I asked who was in the barn. Perhaps a neighbor had walked over, I thought.
Right, don't say nothing.
I walked into the doorway, realizing that whoever it was upstairs in the empty loft. This barn is massive, and it sounded like boots walking across and clanking on the floor at the other end of the barn. However, the voices ceased. I climbed up the nearest ladder and poked my head through the opening.
Get out.
To discover no one was there.
Get out.
I thought I was losing my mind.
You're not.
And shortly afterward, my parents returned home. We did another thorough search of the building after I explained to them what I had heard. Of course, we found no one and nothing like I did. There were no more strange occurrences until this past weekend. On Friday night, we stayed in the house because it was clean enough to sleep in. I awoke to find what looked like a tall shadow standing at the other end of my room.
Oh, hell.
I was completely frozen, but after several seconds or perhaps a minute of staring at it, I stood up, and it seemed to vanish. I decided that I wanted to do more research into the history of the property, and perhaps to talk to the nearby landowners, who may have known past families who lived there. One of the nearest neighbors, about a mile away, is a 92-year-old man named Ralph, whose family had lived in the area for over 150 years.
And there it is. The 92-year-old is in mother clucking cahoots with the thing that vanished. Was it a thing or a person that vanished? I don't know. It's kind of late for me. You know. But, you know what? That's messed up. Because the owners or the landlord or whoever should have told you everything that you need to know before you get into the house, before you move in. They don't, then that's messed up. Like, for real, it is. Cause that's why I don't want to move into like somebody else's house that I don't want to move into a house that somebody has already previously owned. Especially don't want to do it if somebody died in this bit. That's how I want to build my house up, like from the ground up. Everything is from scratch. But that's messed up. Like, I can't even tell you how much that is messed up. That somebody, I mean, like the landlord or the homeowners, didn't tell you everything that you need to know before you moved into this house, before you even thought about the house for consideration. Because you telling me that 5 or 6 families died in this house before I moved into this house, that's pretty important. That I'm just saying. Just saying. You should have told me that when we talked on the phone. I don't know why you didn't. I don't know why you waited until now. See, now I got to cluck your shit up. For real. Like, you didn't tell me. You should have told me this. Should have been like, hi, my name is Ashley. I saw you checking out this house. I do want to tell you that 5 or 6 families did die right here in this house. Oh, word? Okay, cool. Enough said. Baby, let's I want to go somewhere that's about 6 miles out, just because. Thank you for that, Ashley. Appreciate you for telling me that. That's what I'm talking about. They tell me everything that I need to know about the apartment, condo, or the loft, or the house, or the townhouse, or the trailer park, or anything where I'm about to live. Tell me everything that I need to know before I move into this. Because if you don't, and I witness or experience something, or something happens in this house, I'm coming after you. I'm giving you the hands. I'm giving you the works. I'm beating you the hell up. I'm not talking. I'm just giving you the hands. And then I'm running like hell.
What Ralph told me chilled my blood. After asking him if he could speak to the history of the property and the area overall, he immediately told me about the Bush family. He said they are distant relatives of the presidential family, and that there were several brothers who came to the area around 1910. Apparently, they came from money as well, as they bought most of the properties around theirs, and they took turns helping each other build a nice house and some barns on each of the acreages. However, one of the brothers passed away in an accident in our house sometime in the early 1920s,
See what I'm saying?
while trying to wire the house for electricity.
See?
Worse yet, less than 10 years later, at the height of the Great Depression, the brother who owned our property, John, was going to lose the farm. Supposedly, John and his wife left the children in the house and walked across the yard to the barn to have what amounted to an argument. After a heated debate with his wife in the barn, where I'd heard the muffled voices and footsteps, John reportedly proclaimed that it would be better for the family if he took his own life, because the bank would not repossess the property from a widow with children. Ralph told me that John hung himself later that day in the barn.
Damn.
Tragically, John's prediction was incorrect, as the bank did in fact repossess the property, with an official reportedly citing the wife's extended family she could stay with. I was never a believer in the paranormal, and I certainly never gave it much thought. However, I'm now thoroughly convinced that my experiences on the property are proof that the souls of these two men may have remained behind, disturbed and perhaps unable or unwilling to leave. 6. The Roommate by Ellen.
Here we go. Something always happens with the roommate.
Last summer, a friend and I were volunteering at an animal sanctuary in Costa Rica. The volunteers there all stayed in shared rooms with bunk beds, and in my room, there were 4 bunk beds and 1 single bed, but there were only 4 of us sharing the room at the time. This sanctuary was located on an old farm.
I just want to say, I hate sharing a bed. Unless it's with, like, either my girl or, like, like my sister or something, like, if she's scared or something. But, like, I'm not about to share no bed. No. And that's just for a good ass reason. Because I'm not the type of person, when I sleep, I don't just stay in one position. I move all over the goddamn place. Right? So if you know, I don't know why, I don't know why I was doing that. But like, if I'm sharing a bed, yo, be prepared. You waking up on the floor. Like, I'm gonna kick you off. I needs my space on the bed. And the bed I have now, it's ideal for one person. It's not, no. No. It's not. So, yeah. I don't like sharing no bed unless it's like with my girl or somebody that you need for me to sleep with you. Pause. But like, other than that, don't come in my bed because you gonna get kicked off. You gon' like, I move around way too much.
Rooms for the volunteers were originally used to hold livestock, and our room was particularly creepy. Although I never found it creepy until after this incident. The other volunteers referred to our room as the bunker, because it had a really thick, heavy metal door that you could slide shut. But we always left it open.
Why? See,
My first night staying in my room, I was asleep in a bottom bunk in the bed in the center of the room, and the other girls were all asleep in beds around me.
hold. There it is. They keep the door open. Why? It's a red flag. One of them. But that's a huge red flag. You leaving the door open, like, come on, man.
I'm not a good sleeper. I always wake up multiple times during the night, but usually just for a few minutes. On that night, when I woke up, it was 2:30 a.m. I noticed a weird shape sitting on the bottom bunk of the bed across from mine.
No, you didn't.
As my eyes adjusted, I thought that the shape looked like a man, sitting upright with his hands on either side of him,
It probably
with an unnaturally large smile on his face.
It probably is a man.
His teeth were large, but not pointy, and the face was completely manic-looking. The weirdest thing about this figure was the glowing pale blue color around it. I didn't panic straight away.
I would have.
I had traveled 26 hours from Ireland to Costa Rica just the day before, so I thought my eyes could have been playing tricks on me.
Bull.
I adjusted the mosquito net that was over me to see if the distortions of the net were making a weird shape. I tried to let my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room, but no matter what I did, the blue man was still there, smiling, with his head slowly tilting to one side.
Get the hell.
I was too scared to call out to my friend who was asleep near me, and leaving the room would involve walking past it. I was worried if this man was not a hallucination, and was in fact something sinister, that it might attack me, or one of the others. So rather than try to address the situation, I simply turned over and hid under my covers.
I'm tired of people hiding under their covers, hiding under their blankets. What? That's not going to do anything. It's not. It's, unless you have like an Adidas blanket, then you shit out of luck. A regular blanket is not going to do anything to a creature, to somebody that's after they get. It's not going to do nothing unless you have an Adidas blanket, which the price ranges from like $2 to like $2,000. Depending on a lot of variables, like a lot of different things. Because you get an Adidas blanket, you can wear that as your cape. and you can fly. We're soaring, flying. There's no. I don't know why I started singing that, but I did, and yeah, that's that. Huh. Wow, that. You know, I could have edited that out, but I chose not to.
The next day, I told my friend about it, and she was pretty horrified, so I decided not to tell anyone else. Not until the day they were leaving the sanctuary. Most of them tried to convince me it was a hallucination, or just a really vivid nightmare. Some people have suggested that one of the other volunteers could have come into the room.
No.
But I knew all the volunteers, and no one looked like this man, and certainly no one was glowing blue. If it was a real, tangible person, why would they sit there staring and smiling like that? I sincerely hope it was just my tired brain playing tricks on me, because what I saw was far from normal.
That. Oh my.
7. Sleeping with a Ghost by Amanda I.
No. Oh my. You don't even have to go into the story. Like, you can just skip. You could have just said this title. The title of the story. And you should have just skipped it and went on to number 8. You don't need to go into this. Sleeping with a ghost. Sleeping by a ghost. Are you serious? You have no time to run. You have no time to kick it. No time to haul it. You dying right then and there. Like, that's crazy. God forbid, but if I'm ever sleeping and I wake up and there's a ghost right here in my face, yo, I'm passing the clock out. And then I'm dying, probably. That's scary as hell. Wow. Wow. Wow, you have no time to run. You barely have time to, like, react. You just, you fainting, and then you die on the spot.
This story takes place back in 2007 in my family's farmhouse in Minas Gerais, southern East Brazil.
Oh.
Many weird things happened to members of my family in this house since it was built by my grandma's father.
So, all those creepy things, all those weird paranormal things that's been happening, keyword, been happening to you, to your family. You never thought about once moving? Okay. Alright, cool. Not cool, but cool.
Weird because this farm was built in the middle of nowhere back then, and no family ever lived there before ours.
Yeah.
I've heard many weird stories about the farm, but nothing really happened to me until this day.
Yeah.
I was 15 years old when I went to the farm to visit my grandma's brother, who lived there. I was with my cousin, we'll call her Ellie, and her father. We walked around the property, taking pictures and posing around like any 2000s teenagers would do.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I was facing Ellie, with my back turned to the house, when she suddenly turned pale. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she had just seen a little boy wearing a suit standing on the balcony looking out at us. The boy had been around 8 years old, had black hair, and was very pale. It was strange, and I wasn't sure if I could believe that. A few months later, we had forgotten about...
You suck. You suck. I mean that in the most nicest of ways. You suck. If somebody ever came to me and said, I've just seen a ghost, or my table moved a couple of inches, or my shirt got pulled but was nobody there, or I've seen a skinwalker, or I've seen something paranormal. See, there it is. I've seen something paranormal. I'm believing you. I'm going to believe you off bucks. I am. That man. Somebody ever tells you, because my thing is, if you're going to tell me that you've seen a ghost, for your sake, you better be telling the truth. Because you don't play around with stuff like that. You don't joke around with stuff like that. Like, you just don't. It's common sense, right? So if you come to me saying, "Yo, Gator, I just seen a ghost, man." Oh, word? Okay, so let's go ahead and get the cluck out of here. Let's go ahead and haul ass. I'm believing you. Wait, believing? I'm believing in you. Or I believe you. Yeah. Like, I'm not there's no second thoughts. There's no nothing. Like, I believe you, you know? But if you tell me that, you know, after we run and we're safe and whatnot, if you tell me that it was a joke or you playing, I'm gonna make sure that you really see a ghost. Just saying. You don't play with if you're talking to me, you don't play around with stuff like that. You just don't, okay? You don't. So if you ever see me in person, right, I'm talking to y'all, don't play around with stuff like that, like, for real. Cause I'm running. Like, I'm not giving it a second thought. I'm not. And if you playing, you better hope to God you're not playing with me.
The incident, and we got back to the farm for our uncle's and aunt's 25-year anniversary celebration. Our entire family would spend the night at the house, and then we'd all go back home after lunch the next day. Even if the house is big, there wasn't nearly enough space for all of us. So my cousin Ellie and I slept together in an air mattress on the floor in the reception room, along with her brother on the couch and her father on another air mattress in the same room. This room had a door that opened straight up to the balcony we had first seen that little boy apparition months before. I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling a strange kind of cold. It just didn't feel natural, and it was very odd as it was the middle of summer. If you've ever felt this cold before, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
It comes from the inside, not out. I rolled over in my blanket, but it wasn't enough to warm me. I realized Ellie was also awake, and she was shaking. We tried to get warm and go back to sleep. We actually managed to, but after a while, our 7-month-old cousin was crying in the bedroom next to us, and it woke us up.
There it is.
After he stopped crying, we could fall asleep again, yet we woke up once more, feeling that strong cold.
Stop sleeping.
It happened around 4 or 5 times during the night.
Damn.
The next day, I slept until lunchtime when my mom woke me up to go eat. I told her I hadn't slept well because of how cold it was that night. She looked at me worried and said she couldn't sleep because of how hot it was that night. She had slept with the window open too, and the fan turned on, yet still had trouble. I asked my cousin and uncle, who slept in the same room as us, if they felt the same. My cousin even said he woke up in the middle of the night and had to take off his shirt because he was too sweaty. Before we left, I told the story to my grandma's brother, who lives on the farm, and he said one day he woke up feeling an intense and strong cold, only to find a little pale boy sleeping next to him in his bed.
Oh my God. Oh, that's...
8. Creature Trail.
That's...
by ToasterCat24.
No, man.
This story took place on the 13th of August at my grandma's house. For some details, my father owns a car care business near my grandmother's place, so I wanted to stay at her house for the night. What I do for fun at her place is shoot my grandfather's old Daisy BB gun in the yard and the forest behind her home. When my parents dropped me off, I said my goodbyes to them and I was off to the forest. I quickly grabbed the rifle and revolver BB guns, and my grandmother's dog, Wilson. No one has been on that forest trail for a long time, because the entire trail was overgrown by ferns and tick grass. The first strange thing I noticed was that someone put small plastic strips next to the landmarks in the forest. These landmarks are a strange group of curled trees where a lot of squirrels and birds are seen, a large crater area that has large ferns around it, and the small creek that runs through the forest. The crater used to have ferns on the inside, but they look to have been removed. It didn't faze me or Wilson on our hike. While on the main trail, there's a deer farm that is fenced off with 30 feet of wooden walls. If you were to follow this trail, it leads to a stone road in the mountains. While on this road, I began to feel uneasy. It was that gut feeling that if I was to keep walking on that road, something bad was going to happen.
So don't keep walking.
The deer farm was unusually quiet. I turned to leave, but Wilson did not want to go the way we came. He was frightened. I've never seen that dog that scared. And at that moment, something came crashing through the woods.
Man.
Something big, coming at full speed over the trail back home. Wilson whimpered as it continued on the trail. I didn't see it, but I felt it shake the ground, and then I found what it left behind. On the trail was a massive pile of animal waste, bigger than Wilson.
Damn.
It was nothing like I've ever seen in my life. It looked like a horse and bear and cow droppings all mixed into one big pile.
Ew.
And it was fresh. Once Wilson saw that, he was ready to hurry home. I don't blame him. Whatever's in those mountains and near the deer farm, I don't want to see it again, let alone come that close to it.
If I was Wilson, the dog, I would have left your ass
9.
in a heartbeat.
Noises in the Cornfield by Skittlepig. When I was in the 7th grade, I was trying out a lot of new things. I wasn't the type to do it by myself, though, so I usually...
You said you was trying out a lot of new things, so just taking a wild guess. Are one of those things Adidas? Like, were you trying out new pairs of Adidas, or were you not? Like, these are things I need to know. Like, what were you trying out? Because one of those things should have been Adidas. You should have been trying on, like, just saying, just throwing it out there, You need to know what Adidas you need for the price. Like, you need to know what kind of Adidas it is. You need to know if they are gonna keep up, because it's Adidas. Because it's like so many, but like, Adidas is Adidas, so you're never gonna go wrong. But you should have. One of those things should have been you trying out different pairs of Adidas. So, yeah.
had a friend come with me. I would drag them along doing my new stuff. So one day, before school started, one of my friends decided it would be fun for me to try out for the cross-country team. I'm not a very fit person, but pacing a few miles wouldn't be too hard for me, I thought, so I agreed to join. Practice was always after school, and was usually fun. I got to meet a bunch of new people, some of which are still my friends today. After practice, my mom would let me have an hour of break time, and then I was expected to run another mile. Before I begin to tell you about my run, I need to explain the layout a little bit. We live in a rural area with a lot of farming ground and close neighbors. I have to say that our closest neighbor is only a half-mile away. Behind our house is one of our cornfields. This stretch is only half a mile long and half a mile in width. I would run up the gravel road beside the cornfield up to our neighbor's house, and then I would turn around. I would do this every day after practice, and even during the weekends. But I never heard or saw anything weird. When something did come out of the ordinary, it was during a cloudy day. During my hour break, it began to rain, and I thought I was in the clear for my run. But Mom wasn't having it, and made me go do my mile anyway. It was August, so the corn was tall and almost ready to harvest. Anyone about 6 feet tall or less could easily hide in that cornfield. About halfway into my run, I began to hear something following me.
No, you know.
It wasn't too loud, so I just thought my dog had come out with me. I didn't think to turn and look in the corn, since it wasn't a big deal that she was following me. But I did call out. I said, "Go home," to her. But a few minutes later, I heard a soft voice coming from the corn, and it was mocking me. "Go home."
Oh.
I have a sister that likes to bother me, and she sometimes mimics me to make me mad. So I stopped and yelled to her, "Get out of the cornfield, sis, or Dad's gonna be mad you walked all over the stalks."
Come on. Does that really sound like your sister? Because it sounds like to me you playing games. It sounds like to me you straight bullshitting. It sounds like to me that you stepped foot outside without your Adidas on. Because if you had your Adidas on, your Adidas would have told you telepathically that, yo, this thing that's following you, you don't know it, you never seen it before. So what we gonna do is we just gonna run. Okay, that's what we doing. So I understand that you're out of shape. This is like my Adidas voice. Granted, it's my regular voice, but I understand that you're out of shape, but that's okay because you have on the Adidas 3000s. It does the work for you. It runs for you. So we running right now. That's how fast we go. That's it. Because I can't really do the motion because I'm hurting too much. So that... Ow. See? Oh my God.
I heard nothing for a minute, so I just thought she was playing a prank on me. Until I heard the voice again, only slightly closer. "Go home."
Okay.
I was a little confused and decided to turn back and just go home. As I did, I could hear something sort of limping behind me. It didn't have a pattern like most animals do. It was random and all over the place. I was right at the end of the cornfield when I decided to look behind me. All I saw was a long black arm coming out of the cornfield, then it quickly flew back in. What I did see were extremely long claws and fingers. They were long and bony, almost like an elderly person's hand. I ran back into the house and never spoke a word about it, not even to my sister. That year, I dealt with some mild insomnia and bad dreams because of this. A few months after, during our Christmas break, my dad called all of us to the window that shows the whole backyard. You could see the barren, snowy land that was once the cornfield, but something was running across it extremely fast. Something that was black and slender. We only saw for a few seconds before it was out of view. I stood there in shock, and Dad said that it was probably just a weird, malnourished black bear. But I knew it was the thing that I saw that day. and I hope I never run into it again. Now that I'm in 10th grade, a new year has started, and my sister and I have both joined the same sport. But it also means I have to run down that road every day after practice.
No, you don't.
I only hope it doesn't show itself again.
Just run in place. Why you gotta go down the road?
10.
You playing?
Something Attacked Me by Peter C.
You didn't attack me. You attacked my after image.
I live in a small farming town with lots of overgrown fields. I was 12 years old, and my friends, the same age, loved the paranormal and explored a lot of the fields and abandoned properties around us.
That's right there. Right there. Right there. You said you loved the paranormal. You said you love the paranormal. But I have a feeling that you're not going to love it so much. I have a feeling that something going to happen and you're going to hate paranormal stuff. Just like.
This day in particular, we decided to look around one of the fields close by. For the first while, things weren't anything special, but an hour into it, I managed to lose my friends, and I was calling desperately out to them, trying to find them, and I was getting anxious quickly. As I kept calling and looking for them, I began to hear noises nearby.
No, you didn't.
Immediately, I thought it was my friends trying to scare me, and that's why they were ignoring me. I said, "Ha, funny joke, guys, come on." But there was no response. I was still scared and started walking back, when out of nowhere, I felt hands on me, and they pushed me hard into the ground.
Oh my God.
When I caught my breath, I picked myself up, and I ran as fast as I could back to the house, where I saw my friends waiting on me. They said they'd been looking for me all day. In pain and terrified, I simply cried and ignored them. Honestly, I was kind of mad, because I felt like they didn't look hard enough. Deep down, I was simply afraid. Since then, I've never seen or heard anything out there, save for the remains of animals who had been torn to shreds and devoured. But we hope it's just a fox.
Really? Fox eyes?
Farms allow our country to be well fed, but farmers often lead very harsh and hard-working lives. Lives that are filled with all kinds of tragedy, from family tragedies to complications due to over-farming the soil. And occasionally, there is some wildlife that often preys on the cattle, and sometimes it preys upon the farmers themselves. Good night. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, you can send me your true scary stories at darknessprevails.org/submit. I'm looking for creepy confessions from bartenders. If you want to support my channel further, go to patreon.com/darknessprevails and donate any amount. That'll get your name in the credits at the end of these videos. Download my free app Spooked on the Google Play Store and get all my videos and stories in one place. And if you got a little bit of extra cash, click the shop button below to get some creepy, cool Darkness Prevails merchandise. If you don't see that button, simply go to morbidmonsters.com. Now then, here are my 5 favorite early comments from the previous video about 10 creepy bus stories. Dorchada Saul August Bus says,
What?
The true creepy story is someone not thanking the bus driver. You got that right. Those guys really put up with a lot of crap. I was one of those craps when I was little. Kampa Yoshi says, the wheels on the bus go round and round. If crap goes down, though, they better go stoppy, or I'm jumping right out the window. Derek Smithson says, honestly, I have no idea what he's trying to say. If anyone has any idea what this puzzle of words means, leave a comment. Otherwise, I'm still scratching my head. Something about merchandise and bustin' nuts at bus stops. Sounds like a good time to me. Cypher Britain says, question, how many stories do you receive in every video? This is how it goes. I make videos based on stories I already have, and I try to request stories for those I want to do but don't have enough stories for. How many stories I have available is completely dependent on the topic. When I looked up farming stories, I got about 80 different submissions from my website.
Damn.
On the other hand, when I did stories about bartenders, there were only 2. These are unpublished stories, by the way. But when I put together a video, I go through about 20 to 30 different stories. That helps me pick out the cream of the crop or just the well-written ones.
Wow.
But when I do a video where I have enough stories, just enough, I can't be picky, and I usually have to read stories I wouldn't otherwise publish or narrate. So that comes with a lot of editing, which means a lot more work on my part. But if you're asking how many stories I receive, well, I publish about 30 to 40 every week. But even at that rate, I have 2,100 stories on my website alone that I haven't read or published that are waiting for my attention. So yeah, there's a lot of submissions. But that's great, because you guys keep this campfire going.
Ooh.
Finally, the vengeful one says, hey man, how are you? It's nice to see a relaxing how are you every once in a while. I'm doing great, and I'm feeling better than ever. But I'm ready to move out of this house. And I'd like to stream some indie horror games with you guys. How does that sound? Anyway, thanks so much for listening to another Darkness Prevails video. More scary stories are coming soon. Here are the credits to my faithful and amazing patrons who continue to donate to support this channel. Until next time, this world is a strange one, so stay safe out there and stay creepy.
Hey, kudos to me for doing this video, even though I was in excruciating and a lot of pain. I could not have done this video, and I could have rested my body, but I chose not to. I don't know if that was stupid or what, but yeah, you know. But I don't know, I love you guys, and I feel like if I miss a day on not uploading, then it's like I feel like y'all mad at me, so I gotta keep y'all happy. Yeah, I've never lived in the country or on a farm or anywhere that's definitely isolated from everyone and everything, but I have visited places, you know, that's like that. And every night, this is when I was a kid, but like every night I had my guard up. I was cautious because we just had open land, and it's like, even as a kid, that's scary as fuck. I can't, man. I'm a city boy at the heart. But then again, I do like my quiet time, but not so much quiet. Like where I live now, where I live now, it's like the neighborhood is quiet, but like I'm still surrounded by people. I still have neighbors within walking distance, like a couple of feet from me. I don't have neighbors that's like 12, 10 miles out. No. My neighbors are like regular neighbors where you can walk a couple of feet to the next house. But I can't live out there and on a farm or just like in a deep country like that. Like I need to be next to people. I need to be surrounded by people to like a certain extent. But I mean, for anybody that lives on a farm or has ever did, or anybody that's living in a like in a I was about to say State Farm. Wow. Anyone that lives or has lived on a farm or in a country where like it wasn't really nobody or nothing around them, let me know if you do currently or if you did before. And let me know if you're a city boy or a city girl. You know, I'm a city boy at the heart. But yeah, that's about it. I was going to do another video, but my body can't take any more of this. I have to rest my body. Yeah, I'll see y'all soon. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my friend.